Hey, hello, and welcome everyone. This is Gonzo with Rice 41. And today, what are we going to talk about? Today, we're going to talk about finally, almost 2 weeks later, I get a chance to record and tell you guys about Peak Week, and then the show. Finally, the last episode, I guess, of the father and son men's physique blood, sweat, and genetics series. Hopefully, if you're interested, this will give you an idea of what that was like. It was an incredible experience. It was absolutely amazing. But first, before we even get started, I have to give thanks to a whole bunch of people that made this possible. Because believe me, like prepping for 16 weeks, coaching, etc., there were a lot of moving parts. It was an incredible learning experience. And next year, hopefully, when we do this again come November, we're going to go strong into our off season and grow. Not only that, we're bringing my second child, my middle child, Connor, is also going to do it with us. So it's going to be both my sons on stage. But in any case, before we even get started, I want to give thanks. And so the first person that I'm going to thank is Big Paul Burnett, our head coach. You can find him on Anabolic Bodybuilding on YouTube. You can also find him on Instagram at Paul Barnett, and check out his channel. He has an amazing amount of information regarding bodybuilding, PEDs, and harm reduction, how to do the sport safely, and so you don't do the boneheaded things that you're going to do as a bodybuilder. So you learn a little bit. So big, humongous thanks to Big Paul. Second, Michael D. Williams, our posing coach. Again, you can find him and Beyond Driven Apparel on Facebook. That's facebook.com/Beyond Driven Apparel for his stuff. If Michael hadn't trained us on how to pose, well, you'll hear about it as I narrate like what this week was like, because I'm going to tell you a story. I am going to entertain you with everything that happened this week because it was crazy. A third, and not least, Mr. Kevin Burke for functional and adaptive coaching, specifically working for Chandler. So helping him as a young man with Down syndrome and autism, it's not easy for him to connect and to do some of the movements and so forth. And Kevin, for the last 3, 4, maybe 5 years, has been working with Chandler to get him to like an optimal shape so that he can do all these things that we do and train the way we train. So again, hats off. He is the owner of Phase Gym, and all of this information will be in the notes underneath. If you want to visit them, if you have perhaps somebody that wants to train at his gym, again, or contact any of these coaches. They are all amazing. So all this information will be at the bottom. Another special thanks, Dr. Todd Lee, who also throughout the year has given us a huge amount of encouragement and positivity, as well as he's just a wealth of knowledge. Todd, you can find him on Todd Lee's Anabolic University and YouTube, and you can find him on Instagram at Todd Lee MD, all lowercase. Again, all this information will be in the bottom. Todd, thank you. Again, from the bottom of Chandler and my heart for all the help that you've given. It was amazing. And we've become, I believe, great friends over the last year. That's a friendship like with Paul that I will treasure forever. So thank you guys. All right. So also, had to mention them very quickly. Our affiliates and sponsors, VXS Products, Team VXS for their gym wear. Thank you for your sponsorship. Iron Eagle Posing Trunks. Thank you for your sponsorship. We look great on stage thanks to you guys. You can find them at posingtrunk.com and Mind Pump Media. Again, they from the beginning, they've been with us. Doug and Sal and the whole team has been kind of like behind the scenes. It's been a while since we chatted with Doug, but he was one of the people that encouraged us to move forward and be able to like do this. So again, thank you so much. Mind Pump Media, you can find them at mindpumpmedia.com, also at Mind Pump TV on YouTube. Amazing wealth of material on fitness and health and all around being a better human. All right, so with that out of the way, Let's start talking. So 1 week out. So let's start the story. So we're 1 week out. I personally started my contest prep at 208. By this point, I weigh 165 pounds or so. I'm the last 3 weeks I've been oscillating between 165, 167, somewhere in that area. So now we know how water works. We know we've had 3 weeks of loading carbs and seeing like, okay, I retain this much water. This is how much water I lose over a day or two, and finalizing the look with Chandler. So he hit about 10% body fat, about 138 pounds, I believe. So we did not go as hard with him, being an all natural competitor, being a young man, and trying to keep it more fun and less stress free. Also, Chandler has the advantage, as you see in the pictures, and I put pictures in post production as I tell the story to illustrate. Chandler has naturally genetically gifted abs. Like he hits 15% body fat, and he's got freaking ravioli chunky abs. He's fortunate like that. Being men's physique, that's a huge plus. So I didn't want the experience to be very hard, at least the first one. So we did a carb cycling diet with him also, but a lot lighter, nowhere near as strict as mine. Also, as a younger man, he is 27. He reacts way better to the caloric restriction and carb cycling. He responds immediately, unlike me. I have to like be very tight and very strict. Anyway, so this week we focused on continuing our training as best we can. I'm feeling depleted. Definitely the strength is not there like I'm used to. So the light pump sessions, we had one final legs that Saturday before the Saturday show. That was the final leg session. After that, it was all upper body and going for that light pump again throughout the day. Higher reps, longer rest periods, then posing. We practice posing about 15, 20, 30, sometimes 45 minutes a day just to get that down. And even then, I will say this, as Dr. Todd Lee will say, the hardest part of bodybuilding is 100% posing. It's 100% posing. You don't have a mirror. You have judges. You have people staring at you. It has to be muscle memory. You have to memorize where things go, how they fall, and it has to be smooth and flawless. So it's very, very challenging, especially for for newer people. For Chandler, again, the keeping the flow was the hardest thing for him, even though I believe he poses better than I probably ever will. Eventually he got the rhythm down, and thank you, Michael Williams, our coach, for that, to helping us understand that it's not just hitting the poses, but it's the flow in between poses and that confidence that you bring, that stage presence that you bring on stage. And we'll talk about that later once we get to the show part. So anyway, so this is 1 week out. This is what's happening. Also, from a nutritional standpoint, nutrition at this point, it's almost like surgery. We're being extremely careful with our diet and with what's going on. I mean, we've been working, think about it, for 15 weeks prior to this to get to this point. So now every nuance counts. So we use the carb cycling diet. If you're interested in that, Paul's channel, Anabolic Bodybuilding, has a ton of material on carb cycling. And let me tell you, carb cycling works. For those of you who may be new, just very quickly, carb cycling basically is the manipulation of carbs. You keep it very low fat, and it's the manipulation of high days of high carbs, medium training days where it's like a moderate amount of carbs with your protein, everything low fat, and then low days that are like nothing but protein in order to manipulate glycogen is basically what you're doing. You're manipulating water and glycogen in your body in order to present the best look, because ultimately bodybuilding is about the look. It's not about the number on the scale. It really didn't matter what the number on the scale was for me personally. I mean, it was a great data point, but it's just one data point. The pictures is what matters. At this point, also, we're taking pictures daily. We're checking in with our coach and making sure that things are looking the way they're supposed to look, and that this becomes predictable so that you can then time it for when you're on your show. That's when like that morning for prejudging, you're at your absolute peak and best. So basically, that's how it works. And then, let's talk about the father son dynamic. This was awesome because we're like helping each other out. We're kind of suffering. I don't know if suffering. I have thoughts on suffering because we're doing this on purpose, but we're enduring the experience. That's a little bit challenging together and kind of keeping each other's spirits up. And that helps with a bond, which again, that was the entire purpose of doing this together, is to like strengthen the bond, between as a father and son, that we like share an experience that's very unique together. So that was super cool. As far as food prep goes, man, this week, I mean, there's chicken everywhere. there's chicken breast everywhere and cream of rice everywhere. Those were like our best friends. Same with rice cakes. Turns out rice cakes, you can dress them up all kinds of ways, and they're actually like really good. So that worked out. I was surprised at the end of the process that even though I'm not going to say it was super easy because you are restricting your diet, there were many options. You can get very creative. A lot of people don't like to get creative in the kitchen. Paul, for example, always says that he eats very bland. He just eats stuff on repeat and that works for him. In our case, Chandler and I got very creative with versions of food that were very delicious and tasty, but still kept within the macros of the carb cycling. So that worked out really well. And probably I'll do an episode at some point where we talk about like recipes. For example, creating an egg white French toast that I would have for dessert every evening since I have a sweet tooth, still very well within the macros. So this can be done. So if you're a foodie, you can still do this. You can absolutely do this. It just requires planning. It just requires planning, and I'm being careful and able to follow the macros and have that food ready. That's another tip. Uh, Definitely prep your food. If you want to stay strict, if you want to be able to like hit the nutritional values that you want, nothing will sabotage you faster than not having stuff planned out and ready. Always be ready because you're going to be eating every couple of hours. You're going to get hungry. You're going to get hangry. That's another thing. These last few weeks were psychologically very hard. Especially, I would say that the person that probably had to deal with most, of course, was my wife because, we both live with her. You have two people in contest prep. I've never done this, so I have no idea what my hormones are doing. As Dr. Lee has explained to me, when you're that lean, when you hit that 5% body fat, your brain is incapable of creating certain chemicals and having certain reactions. So you're running basically you've created a chemical depression, basically, or a situation in your brain that's not normal. You're not thinking clearly. You don't have all your faculties. You're exhausted. You're tired. You're calorically starved. So that affects your mood. It affects your judgment. So you have to be extremely careful. So next year, when we do this again, the last 6 weeks, I'm going to be watching my reactions like a hawk to make sure to be kind to the people around me because I was terrible. I did notice that to the people around me way too often. I find myself saying things that I would never say in my normal state. Like, for example, now that I'm 20 pounds back heavier, a couple of weeks later, with I can tell my estrogen level, my hormone level has come back. And my brain operates the way it's supposed to operate. My mood has elevated. The gym is amazing now compared to like this last week. So, all right, another thing that we're going to talk about is, even though we kind of started preparing for it this last week, was let's talk about grooming. Let's talk about grooming and preparing. So if you've never done this, so first of all, there's shaving. and I mean shaving. I ended up buying a electric razor that was amazing. I'm going to actually put that information in the notes for anyone who's interested. If you want to purchase this device, it made it effortless to be able to shave all over your entire body, because you will need to shave your entire body. Even though in our case we're doing men's physique, so we have to get super duper close, like say classic or open competitors that have the smaller trunks and briefs. Those guys have to be completely shaved, and you've got to be really careful with your skin and take care of that. Exfoliating, preparing your skin. I would recommend, like, probably a month before the show, you want to start taking care of your skin. You probably want to, if I had to do it again, I'd probably shave a whole month ahead rather than a couple of weeks. I only did it a couple of weeks ahead, just to let your skin kind of get used to not having hair and being able to exfoliate and creating a great base layer. Because remember, you're going to receive a tan, which is its own process. I will talk about that in a minute. As you want to make sure that you're moisturizing, because again, any imperfection in your skin will show on stage. So you want to bring the best, presentation that you can. So, you learn the hard lessons about razor burn. That's another thing why you want to do it ahead of time, to give your skin time to heal if you do get razor burn. Or if, the first time, I mean, in my case, I'm not a particularly hairy person, fortunately for me. Like, I don't have a ton of body hair. I'm not just bald. Like, I really don't grow a lot of hair, even as an older man with, like, crazy. I'm starting to see some crazy old man hair here or there, but it's very minor, thank goodness. And Chandler, same thing. He's doesn't have a lot of body hair. He was very compliant. This is also when our wife helped us, because there's like your back, and there are certain areas that are harder to reach. Also, you have that extra set of eyes to make sure that you've done a good job of making sure that everything's ready. I mean, you got to laugh at the absurdity of two grown men like shaving themselves like completely in order to prepare for this. But that grooming is 100% important in all bodybuilding and men's physique, where it's kind of like that male beach model kind of look. You have to look sharp. You have to keep, everything. Chandler got himself, and you'll see later, I'll see if I can put in post-production. We actually took him, we got a manicure, pedicure, which he loved. He thought it was the weirdest and funniest thing ever. But, well, you'll see in the videos, like, that will be here, hopefully, in post-production. And if not, I'll just add them to the channel so you can, like, have a good laugh. And he was very ready, by the way, for that tan, because he's always been very fair skinned, very light skinned. He wanted to see what he looked like. He's never been able to truly tan. He'll get red when we go to the beach. We had to protect his skin a lot, make sure he doesn't get, bad sunburn. He's very fair. So that was that was definitely a fun time. Another thing, as the final peak week, is to be aware of, and I've kind of mentioned it before. It's the daily physique changes, because you're so lean. So depending on how much sodium, water, carbs, etc. you have, you'll wake up one day you're flat, one day you're full, one day you're soft, the next day you're shredded. You look amazing. So, I mean, before breakfast, I'll go through all 5 emotions, just from seeing, like, when I would wake up, I would take my fasted morning pictures to show my coach, this is where we are. This is how I woke up. But by the time I had that first breakfast meal, had my coffee or whatever, I'd gone through, like, every stage. Like, I'd be bloated, cut, all of them, just when you're 5%, and I was 5%. We'll talk about Dexa scans shortly too. I was truly 5% and change body fat. I mean, literally hour to hour, your look will change, and you have to be okay with that. Not only do you have to be okay with that, you have to learn what you do that changes the look, so that then on show day, you're ready to bring that out when needed. Like, you need to do X to have this look. So, super interesting. Uh, Managing fatigue. That was another factor throughout the week. When carbs are low, patience is low, everything feels hard. You get that brain fog that we talked about, and you learn the art of not snapping at each other, because remember, you're in contest prep, you're in close proximity, even with work and school and activities in Chandler's case. Yeah, man, like you're you're just tired. But so what you do is you encourage each other through the drag, right? You create that bond again, which is again the entire reason for this exercise. And then you start working on final adjustments. Coach Paul was super responsive, especially this last week where like changes are happening quickly. So we switched from like a daily check in to like every few hours we like check in and see how things are, especially the closer you get to the show. So decided what to carb up. You start making those decisions. This is where having a coach is key. Your coach will tell you, this is when you need to carb up. This is how you need to carb up. This is what you need to be doing. This is critical. So having a coach, I mean, much respect for people who do shows, self-coaching. I don't know how anyone could do it. I could not do it. There's no way I could do it without having that objective person looking at your pictures, looking at how you're presenting and keeping the plan. We also had a written out plan day by day, hour to hour, especially as we got closer. So I had that reference. So I was able to prep a bag, which is another thing you want to do. If you're new to the contest thing, you want to have your bag ready with your snacks, with your accessories, whatever it is that you need, because again, preparation in bodybuilding is everything. You have to be ready for every possibility, every eventuality. The more ready you are, the more tools you have in your arsenal, the better your chances for success. So, all right. So we fast forward to Friday. So this is Friday before the show. So first thing we do, we wanted to get Dexa scans. So now we're going to talk about that for a minute. So we start Friday by doing something like I don't know how many people do this during peak week, but we wanted to have that record. And I'll make sure to, again, in post-production, I'm going to show you up here, like Chandler's Dexa scan and my Dexa scan. So Chandler's gets on the machine. He's laughing. We're having a good time with the folks over there. I'm standing there thinking, well, he did it. Here we are, day before. So his fat distribution was great. Again, for somebody who was doing a carb cycling light version, not a hardcore diet, 10% body fat, as you can see, it was great. The mass retention was very good. He kept just about all the muscle that he put on. He's been working very hard and getting that base muscle, so that was great. And I noticed his confidence skyrocketed with all that positive feedback from the crew that was doing the Dexa scan. They gave us like a complete reading. They also checked out his bone density. Interestingly, as a person with Down syndrome, his bone density is not that great compared to a typical person at the same age, range, weight, sex, etc. So that's something that we're going to address. We're going to see like what we can do with his health and with his doctors in order to address bone density, because that's something that we don't want to let go. We want to build and make him strong, so as he ages well. So my scan, my turn, nothing humbles you like lying there and waiting for those results, but I got I believe it was 5.7, 5.8%. Anyway, it's here in the Dexa scan. The technician said out of 10,000 scans that he's done probably in his career, that was one of the top 5 lowest body fat. And interestingly, and I'm guessing because I was overweight and obese for so long, my bone density is superhuman. It's almost twice what normal bone density is. It's like the top of the range, like the top 1%. So that's fortunate for me as I age from a bone. I've never broken a bone. I've never broken a bone in my life. So I guess this kind of explains sort of why. So that was very good information to have. That's one less thing that I have to worry about as I age. Just keep exercising well, staying fit, eating well. That should maintain it. So that's one less thing to worry about. So again, we were very happy with the Dexa scans. My wife did hers was amazing also, even though she's not competing at this time. She's in great shape. I have to give kudos to the wife. The wife, like I did, we worked together at our weight loss. My total weight loss, just to put it on the record, from the heaviest I ever was to my contest weight was a total of 120 pounds. I was 280 at my heaviest, and I was 160 pounds the day of show that morning, fasted dry weight, which is insane. When to give you an idea, when we first started the contest prep, I was 208. I looked good, what I thought was good. And like Coach Paul says, everyone's way fatter than they think they are until they do their first contest prep, and then they realize just how fat they are. I thought I was like 10, 12, 13% body fat. There's no way. I was probably like, if I had to guess, 17, 18%, because I dropped a total of 42 pounds from the start of the process in 16 weeks to stage. And that's, from what I understand, not that unusual. That's actually like a fairly normal range. I'm 5'7.5" feet tall now. I keep shrinking as I age for whatever reason. So anyway, so we left the DEXA scans. We were super happy. That came out great. And then we go to do our check-in and tan. And the check-in process, we've never done this. So we go to this hotel where Kelly Pruitt and the crew with the NPC have set up their tables. It's a little bit, I'll admit, intimidating because we're walking in and everyone is super freaking jacked. I mean, every volunteer is like a freaking bodybuilding model. Like, and I don't mean men's physique. I mean like at least classic, if not open. These are huge individuals, male and female, by the way. So, but it turns out they were super friendly, super accommodating to Chandler. Everything was amazing. When they with the with the experience, they talked to him as a person directly, which I loved. Like they treated him as the competitor that he is in all seriousness. So we did our weigh in, our check in. The process was very easy, commonsensical. We made sure to sign all of our waivers, disclaimers, understand the rules, understand the timing. We were told, to after that go check for the first phase of tanning. We'll talk about that in a second. And then we were given all of the gear and fun stuff that they give you, all the swag. Got amazing backpacks out of it, some T-shirts. It was great, and there was that excitement. We started like the excitement. We started meeting people. We started meeting other competitors now. So now the excitement's building, right? Like the people that are like, oh shoot, we're new. And everyone was so great. Everyone was so accommodating. Like, if you have questions, come to us. The experience is not intimidating at all. It was super friendly. It was like a brotherhood, Well, brotherhood and sisterhood because, again, men and women. But everyone was so helpful. And I want to pause and take a moment to know, like, again, Kelly Pruitt and everybody from the Alabama NPC organization were amazing to help us understand the process, guide us through it, tell us what to do. So we left check-in in probably 20 minutes with some new friends, great pictures. Amazing. All right, so off we go to to the first tanning session. And there's a company that ran the tanning. And of course, you hear horror stories of people who do their own tanning for shows. We weren't about to mess with that. We paid our good money and it was worth every cent to a company called Tan to Win. Again, I want to call them out because Tan to Win were amazing. Everyone we worked with, all of those ladies that were there helping us with the tan were incredible. And they helped guide you through the process. So they had given us a package a few days earlier with all the instructions of what to wear, what not to wear. For example, don't wear deodorant, because it might react, for with the tan based coat. Bring this, have loose fitting clothes. Understand that you probably want to get some cheap sheets to put on your bed for that night. because when you tan and when you go to sleep, it's going to be a mess. It's going to be a disaster. So, all the tips, tricks, very clear guides. We got to another gym in the same town. This is in Gadsden, Alabama, and they've set up the booths, and it was very simple, very easy. We just got in there. They explained to us what we were doing. In our case, again, men's physique, we're posing in trunks, so we just had briefs um, for tanning. So it made it very easy, very simple. So we got our base coat. Chandler finally got to see himself tan, which was amazing. And I'll put some pictures here, hopefully in post production, so you can see. But he was like, finally, yes, I'm a bodybuilder. I've got a tan now. Again, we just had a good time with mom and him and me, and it was just crazy. So after that, we went back home. So we live about an hour away from the venue, from the venue and the town where all this is happening. So we went back home, got ourselves our dinner again, on point. Everybody excited. By the time we got home, I think it was like actually earlier than we thought we'd get there. I think we got home like at 8ish. So it wasn't terrible. We knew we would have to get up very early because our second follow-up tanning appointment on Saturday morning was at 5:45 a.m. And we knew we had to drive an hour, so we knew we'd have to get up probably 3:30. So Saturday rolls around. Everyone's excited. It's hard to sleep, but again, it's hard to sleep because of the excitement, and it's hard to sleep because you're calorically deprived. I haven't slept well probably in 8 weeks at this point, not fully. Like I'm like, so just so you understand, my routine was, you know, wake up at probably 4 in the morning, 4:30 maybe, do my fastest morning cardio, do my walk before going to my office to go to work. So, and falling asleep is hard. So you fall asleep at like, you tried 9 o'clock, but it's like 9, 10. You're getting maybe 4 hours, 5 hours maybe of really broken, bad hormone sleep. So, you're exhausted. This is part of that process. But anyway, we wake up Saturday morning. Now it's show day. So let's talk about show day. So wake up around 3:30. Everyone's excited. We've already packed the car. Our coach has given us the list of the things we need. So we got all the rice cakes and honey and salt and loose fitting clothes and changes of clothes and an extra pair of trunks just in case for each of us. Thank you, Iron Eagle and Beyond Driven, for that. Thank you to our sponsors. So we were ready. So we get in the car, drive over to the gym where the tanning was set up, and we do our second coat. That was another crazy mess that those ladies walked us through perfectly. Chandler got his coat. He's amazing. He's excited. And then we go to the venue and kind of like sleep. We have a minivan, of course, as a family. So we kind of like rest up a little bit there, eat our breakfast, and just wait for the venue to open to do our prejudge. We go to the venue. It's a large auditorium. Again, you'll see the pictures of the show of the Gadsden High School. So it's a good sized venue. Probably large auditorium. Probably could hold, if I had to estimate, probably 800 people, maybe. So a good size. The stage was great. Lights were great. So we go there. We see that everyone started to walk in. Everything is set up. There are vendors, We've already paid for the photographer's professional package, which is a lot of these pictures that you'll see. So they give us the rules. They give us a walkthrough. And then Miss Kelly, who had met Chandler earlier the day before doing check-in, took her time to walk him and mom and me through the process and got him on stage before we did prejudge to show him how it's going to happen and who's going to be telling him where to go and so forth. So perfect. So 8 o'clock rolls around. We change into our shorts. We go backstage to set up a perfect area for competitors to hang out. They've got all the rice cakes, all the snacks, all the water bottles, everything it ran super smoothly. And this is a relatively small show from what I understand. We had maybe, I want to say, maybe 50 total competitors, maybe somewhere along those lines. So it wasn't like a ton of people, which made it great. We made a lot of friends backstage. Everyone was super nice to Jen. And so prejudging starts. They tell us how it's going to run. They gave us enough time to be able to get a nice little pump before we got in the lineup. And everybody's great. We do our thing with prejudging. We go out there. We start hitting our poses. They tell us when to go. Everything ran super smoothly. Again, kudos to the NPC crew and the volunteers. Everything was perfect. Chandler had a great time doing the prejudging. So we did that. We put on our performance. This is where we got a chance to finally show all the work that we've been doing, both physique wise and posing wise and so forth. Chandler had, and I was told by multiple people, the best stage presence in the whole damn thing because he didn't care. He loved it. He loves what he does. And again, here, production pictures. I'll add some video. Maybe there'll be a pause here, and you can see like some of his routine. He did amazing. So prejudge goes according to plan, and we realize by the time we're done, it's only like 10:30 in the morning. We're an hour away. We don't have to be back till 4. So we actually came home. We drove all the way back home, had some lunch on the road, and then took a nap. We actually were tired enough that because we had woken up at 3:30 to everybody take like a hour and a half, 2-hour nap, jump back in the car, and off we go to the actual show. And now our family has now arrived. There are people now in the audience, like a lot of people. There are some people for prejudging, but now everybody's there. And so we go backstage. By now we know how this runs. So it was super exciting. But before we got there, our coach had said, McDonald's. We did the traditional medium burger, medium fries, and Coke right before the show, about an hour ahead of the show. Let me tell you, that cheeseburger tasted like glory. I have never had a more delicious meal in my mouth than that cheeseburger and those medium fries. They were like magic. Now, Chandler, because he's gluten-free, couldn't do that, so we did Chick-fil-A for him. But same thing. Those fries, he said, were incredible because remember, he's had a fairly restricted diet also, you know? So we went ahead and did the very traditional burger and fries thing, which Paul's like, just trust the process. I've done this before. You'll be fine. And he was right. We actually blew up really nicely. Like on stage, we looked, I think, as the best, better even, probably, or as good as we did when we did prejudging. So we roll back to the venue. We go backstage. By now, we know our routines. They call us up front. And man, what an amazing experience it was. As you can see from the pictures, you know, we did our thing. The crowd loved him. The crowd loved Chandler, loved him so much. I got a lot of feedback, like positive feedback too, from family and friends. We also had some of our friends from the gym, which I did not expect, drive all the way out there to come and support us. So thank you guys. Like that meant a lot. That was amazing to see. Like there were like 12 people from the gym that are like our gym friends, you know. And they knew we were competing. We also had another friend from the gym called Will. He competed in classic physique, I believe. Swept the thing, won the thing. He did great. So the three of us were like, you know, from Amp Gym here in Birmingham. That was amazing. And Birmingham, Alabama, to be clear, not Birmingham, England. And man, what an experience. So at the end, the awards roll out. And the NPC crowd have created a special award just for Chandler called the Inspiration Award. They actually presented to him, gave him like a bio, and talked about his background and introduced him to the crowd, to the audience. And I mean, he got a standing ovation. It made it worth everything, that moment, seeing my son on stage. And then they let me like join him on stage for a second because I just had to give him a big old hug and a big old kiss because it was probably one of the top 3 moments of my life, I'll have to say. seeing all this work pay off, seeing his smile beaming, seeing him with those trophies and awards. It was, well, like I told Paul, it was life changing. It was a truly, truly life changing experience. And again, I'll share pictures here and links so you can check out on our channel. And man, after that experience and just feeling that wash of happiness and the endorphins and the relief and the gratitude to the crowd and all of these strong, amazing emotions. We gathered with friends, and family, and mostly family at this point, and went to enjoy our victory meal. We went to a local Latin restaurant, which is probably, actually, no, not probably, 100%. It's the best Latin food restaurant in the entire state, if not the Southeast. Um, and we went over there, and I mean, we smashed some food, man. For the first time in weeks, it was incredible. I had a Cuban sandwich. I had like 2 desserts. I had like cheesecake and bread pudding. But the crazy part is both of us, we couldn't eat like that much because we've been restricted so much that there's only so much you can actually eat. But it was amazing sharing with friends and family and sharing, basking in the afterglow of the experience. So, man, what can I tell you? A life-changing experience. We hope to do it again next year. Like I said, Connor, our middle child, my second son, will join us, hopefully on stage. We have a whole year to grow and to internalize the lessons we've learned and get bigger, better, practice our posing, bring better packages, hopefully, right? Because it's about evolution. And, I don't think I'll ever be like a pro. I'm a 54-year-old dad of 3 people. That's probably not in the cards. But what is in the cards is to be better than the last time, to always evolve. And as for Chandler, the sky's the limit. He won like one of the divisions. We each entered into 3. I won my division masters 50 plus, which surprised me. I guess it was the conditioning because it certainly wasn't the muscle size, as you can see from the pictures. But but in any case, now we have a whole year of lessons learned, of growing, of keeping that consistency and getting better. And then, start prep 16 weeks out from November, probably around August, which is Chandler's birthday. So right after his birthday, we'll start our prep again, hopefully, to bring it all right back and try that again. All right, so that's the story of contest week and peak week. Thank you so much for joining us. We should be attending the Arnold this year in 2026. I should say next year in 2026. So look for us there. Hopefully, say hi if you see us. We would love to meet some of our new friends that we've made online in person. And yeah, I I want to thank you if you stuck it out this far, 45 minutes into this narrative. This is what we did. We did what we set out to do. It was again a life-changing, incredible experience as a father and son. A lot of people had doubts that a young man with Down syndrome and autism could do this, or a 50-year-old man. And we both did. We both did. We proved it that it can be done with discipline, with dedication, and with the right people helping. It can be done. So again, special thanks to first and foremost my wife Ashley for dealing with us over all those weeks and giving us all the support and everything we needed. I'm sorry, but a bodybuilder without their support system is nothing. So, babe, thank you so much. It was amazing. And again, to our coaches, to Coach Paul, to Michael for posing, and Kevin for everything, and our sponsors for all the assists, and all the wonderful people we met from the MPC, from 10 to Win, from our gym. Thank you. We could not have done any of this without you. So, All right, everyone, that's a wrap. I guess that's the story of Rice 41, the first father and son men's physique show between Chandler and Gonzo. And we will see you next year. We'll keep putting more information in the podcast as we go. You'll see us checking in. You'll see our progress, hopefully. And yeah, hopefully next year we'll bring even more progress to the table, and it'll be let's see what the experience is like once you actually know what you're getting into. So what changes, what can we share, and hey, if we can help inspire other competitors and or give them information so they can be a part of this. Bodybuilding is amazing, guys. This is a sport that can change your life for the better. So, if in any way, shape, or form we can help you, contact us, info@rise41.com. Hit the like, click, subscribe, all that good stuff. And thank you so much for joining us on the journey. And we will see you throughout the year. Have a great day, everyone.